Hey fantasy fans, welcome back. It's Dan here with Treebeard Book Reviews, and today we're going to be looking at a fantasy classic, a very popular series, and that is The Assassins Apprentice by Robin Hobb. Let's get into it. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Dan here, just doing my typical reviews. I'm going to be typically changing it up a bit. I'm going to be coming up with reviews now on Tuesdays, and my Saturday video is going to be a little bit more different, kind of talking about, stuff within the genre, books to kind of check out. I might be start doing some like reading updates or some vlogs, kind of just giving you channel updates about what's going on, what I'm reading right now, and my progress throughout this year, like the books I'm reading. So I read Assassin's Apprentice in the new year, or sorry, last year, end of last year, 2021. Just want to talk about it. It's going to be a spoiler-free review. Just going to talk about what I liked, what I didn't like, whether you should pick up the Farseer Trilogy. So, again, guys, if you hit the like button and subscribe, it really helps me out. It's a free way of helping me out. So, yeah, let's talk about the Farseer Trilogy, or, well, the Assassin's Apprentice. So, let's go. All right, so what is the Assassin's Apprentice about? So, you're following the life, or the young life, of Fitz Chivalry Farseer. So, first thing I want to say about this book, this is a coming-of-age book. You're following this child's life from the age of 6 up to a teenager, and you confront all the emotions that he's going to confront with him. And one of the things I'm going to say that is really good about this book is the writing by Robin Hobb. She makes you feel like a little kid. She makes you feel innocent. She makes you have these childhood fears, and her writing just her writing in this book is stunning. And she's also, she has this childlike kind of wonder in it, but the fears that a child would have. Fitz is orphaned early by his mother and his father, who turns out to be royalty, and he is finding his way in the world as a bastard, and he's being brought to be raised by his father's family and learn to live in this world, be part of the Farseer family. They are the ruling family in this kingdom, in the realm of the Elderlings. And you're seeing his progression throughout this this book, from this young child to this young adult who has these abilities and these weights on his shoulder that he has to face, and it's really, really well done. It's a really good book. If you like coming of age stories, if you like just almost like a biopic in a sense, where you just learn everything about this person's life. There's some very interesting magic that's going on. You don't learn a bit, too much about it or understand the complete mechanisms of how it works, mainly because there's very few practitioners of the magic, and those who seem to be adept aren't necessarily the experts. So, yeah, it's a really good story like that. The writing is beautiful, and one thing I want to say is the dialogue in this book. Wow. When it's so clever, like when Fitz is speaking with Burrich, or Fitz is speaking with Shade. It's really, she's an expert at dialogue, Robin Hobb. I really, really enjoyed the dialogue in here. It's very clever, and it's almost when you're watching these two characters speak, or Fitz speaking with any character, there's almost double speech going on, because it's not what's said, but it's also what isn't said. And she's very, very good at writing doublespeak. And yeah, it just, it's a really good book because it's such a foundational book in a sense that, you're experiencing a world from a child's eyes. And as you grow up with Fitz, you see the world, this world that he lives in, through his eyes, in a sense that you've experienced the same things he's experienced. So your understanding of the world is the exact same as the main characters, and it's really, really well done. And your opinions of characters are colored through Fitz. So there's something happens in the story. I'm not going to spoil it, where you think one thing of this one character, where you think this character is an awful person, like he did something to Fitz that that would never be acceptable. And then you really you find out that you know, what Fitz thought happened, like he thought happened, didn't really happen. And you know, she's so masterful at telling the story. So yeah, it's just a great, like, if you're new to fantasy too, this is a great story. Highly recommend the Assassin's Apprentice. So maybe let's get into the things I didn't care for in the story. Alright guys, so moving along with the things I didn't like. I think what happened with me in this book is I read it at the wrong time with a wrong bunch of books. So I was reading this book with The Dragon Reborn and Caliban's War. So there's a lot of long, big, heavy fantasy. And this one was just really slow for me. It's a really slow burn. It does get good at the end, but at the end, like, the only thing with me at the end that happened in the book, it wasn't enough at the end to make you care about the characters that you meet. And you spend all this time with, you know, Fitz in, like, the capital, and I'm drawing a blank on the name, I'm sorry, but you know, you fall in love with Fitz and like the struggles he has in the city, and then with his you know, his mentor Burrich and Shade, and then as soon as he leaves that dynamic, it just becomes less interesting, and it was less interesting for me. It is really slow in some parts. Like the first, you know, probably 100 pages of the book, you know, he's 6, and you know, the life of a 6-year-old is not that interesting. Like I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. And like, they're funny, but they don't say anything that's like mind-blowingly interesting. It's like, yeah, sometimes dogs are brown, yeah, like, so it's kind of stuff like that where, you know, maybe, you know, Robin Hobb does put a lot of more complex thoughts on a 6-year-old, but for me it was pretty slow. I will say, she does write villains really well in this book, so there is some baddies in here that kind of crop up, and you're just like, oh, you are such an awful bad person. But, you know, there are satisfying endings to those. But I guess getting on with the other bad, yeah, it's really slow. I didn't care for the ending too much. It kind of just felt like rammed in at the end there. And I don't think it really fit with the rest of the theme of the book. And yeah, that's only the only real negatives. Because it was just, you kind of got to go, and I think why this came as a negative is because this is a trilogy. And I think it's really kind of be meant to read as like a single book, kind of like Lord of the Rings, where, you know, they're broken up into 3 books, but it's really just one book. And that's why I'm going to continue with the series with the Royal Assassin, because that's just what I've heard. You know, you should just pick up the Royal Assassin after you read this one, because there's a lot more action that happens in it. Learn a little bit more about the magic system. So yeah, so that was what are the negatives for me for Assassin's Apprentice. Good book, has its negatives, a little slow, but on the whole, a great little fantasy romp. So what would I rate it? I gave it, I think, a 2 on Goodreads, which is a bad score for me. And I probably had to put it at 2.5. Just like right in the middle, you know, not great, not terrible, I guess is what I would say. And it left me interested and intrigued to continue. And I'm going to continue, and I'm going to read Royal Assassin at some point. Not sure when, but I'm going to be reading it. But yeah, so that's my review there, guys, of The Assassin's Apprentice. Like, I'm going to, maybe, I think once I've read the full trilogy, come back and kind of round out what I think about the series as a whole. But, you know, pick it up. I know this is like some people's favorite book or favorite series. You know, try not to spoil it down there for me for Royal Assassin and like the 3rd book. But again, like, you know, tell me what you like about book 1. You know, I didn't want to get into too many spoilers here, just because I want to give people the opportunity to read the book for the first time and experience it, you know, without having it spoiled for them. So again, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.